gas up the Jeep, it's good to be free. Load up the pans and fishing poles. The highway is long, the wheels turning round. Pack up the cook stove and the bowls. Arlo and I, we hit the open road. Arlo and I are on the road.
Hey everybody, well, I'm back in the kitchen and this is going to be part 2 of our peach picking video. Now in the first video you saw us out in the orchard picking peaches, and that was a lot of fun. So this one today I'm going to take some of those peaches and I'm going to make a Serrano pepper and peach hot sauce, fermented Serrano peach hot sauce. So it's a really simple process and I'm going to take you through that here. We also made a whole bunch of peach crumbles, and I'll show you a little video of that before I get started here. Here I have about 5 peaches left over from after we made all of those peach crumbles. So like I said, I'm going to make a fermented peach hot sauce. So what we have to work with today is, of course, we have those beautiful fresh picked peaches. I have some Serrano peppers. I have a few jalapeno peppers here that I just had laying around. I have a red pepper that I'm going to put in for color, a small piece of onion, and then I have here some salt and some water, because I'm going to use this to make a brine, and that's what we're going to cover all these ingredients up with so it can ferment. So this is a really simple process. We're just going to take all of our ingredients, the peaches, the peppers, and the onion, and we're going to chop them all up, and then we're going to put them into this jar, and then we're just going to cover all of that with our salt brine. I'm going to put a little weight on top of that, and then we're going to put a lid with a little airlock on it, and then we're going to let the jar sit for a couple weeks to a month, and then when it's ready, we'll take it out of the jar, we'll take the vegetables out, we'll puree it, and we'll have our hot sauce. We'll get it in bottles, and it's going to look really nice and going to taste awesome. So actually the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my brine ready. So this is about a quart of water, and I have about 3 tablespoons of sea salt. You want to make sure that you use sea salt or kosher salt for this brine, because you don't want to use iodized salt, because that will prevent the good bacteria from creating the fermentation. So we really just want to dissolve the salt into the water, and that's it. Just a very simple salt brine. Now the quart of water and the 3 tablespoons of salt should be approximately a 5% brine. If you want to be exact, you can weigh it out, but this is just kind of approximate. Okay, we're just going to set this brine aside, and then we're going to start getting our ingredients, the rest of our ingredients together. So I'm just going to take these peaches and chop them up. They can just be rough chop, because in the end we're just going to puree all this anyway. So I'm just going to drop these into our jar. Oh, these fresh peaches smell so good. And those peach crumbles came out so nice, so delicious. Probably the best way, in my opinion,
to eat fresh peaches. Well, maybe ice cream. Peach ice cream is probably my favorite. And then probably a nice fruit peach crumble. Probably my second favorite. All those in there. Then I think I'm going to use some of this red onion. I don't know. This may be like a quarter of a. Maybe I'll put like a quarter of a red onion in there. Get that into the. Put a little more. Okay, I'm going to put just a little bit of this red pepper just for a nice color. This will add to more of a red color when we puree it later. Put all that in there. And then our Serrano peppers. I don't think I'm going to have a lot of room for those jalapenos, so I'm not going to put the jalapenos in. I'll just do the Serranos. Yeah, I should be able to get all of these Serranos in here, and then I will just skip the jalapenos. I was only going to use those if I didn't have enough peppers, but okay. All those pushed down in there.
All right, so there is our jar full of, so we got our peaches, our onions, our red peppers, and our Serrano peppers. Now I chose Serrano peppers because they're not quite as hot as some of the others. If you like really hot, just do the same thing, but use maybe habanero peppers or something like that. But I wanted it to be a little bit more mild, so I chose the Serrano peppers, and I like the flavor of Serrano peppers. But so the next part of this is we're just going to add our brine to it, and then we're going to put our lid with an airlock on it, and then we just let it sit. So just put our salt brine over it just like that. All right, so I have these cool little glass weights that sit right on top here and actually keep the vegetables underneath the brine there. But if you don't have something like that, which you don't really need it, just take a Ziploc baggie, fill it with water, zip it up, and use that as a weight. And those work really well because they really fill in all the little gaps in there. Then I have our airlock lid here, which goes on like that, and then the ring. Okay, that's it. You can see this airlock here has like a little nipple on it, and that allows for the gas to escape while it's fermenting. But isn't that really beautiful? So we're going to set this on the counter, and I'm going to let this sit for 2 to 4 weeks, and then we're going to take the vegetables out, and then we're going to puree them in a blender with a little bit of the brine, and we can adjust the seasoning with vinegar or salt later at that point. But now it's just a waiting game. All right. And in the meantime, it looks really pretty on the counter. I'm actually going to set that jar on a small plate because it might leak a little bit. You know, as it ferments, sometimes a little bit leaks out the top there. I'll show you that. So like I said, I just set the jar on a small plate here because sometimes it erupts out of here a little bit while it's fermenting. But basically, we're just going to let this sit for a few weeks. Every once in a while, I like to come and just kind of agitate it a little bit and make sure that everything is covered in the brine. But we did put that glass weight in there, so it shouldn't be a problem there. All right, it's as simple as that. Now we wait. We will see you in a couple of weeks. You can see how the onions in here, well actually everything in here has kind of changed a different color. It's come the onions have become translucent. You can see that in there. Definitely has a different color, but it has stopped fermenting just recently, and it's ready to. It should have all that nice depth of flavor and nice acidity from that fermentation process. Now, we did not add any vinegar to this yet. We just added saltwater brine, and the acidity from the bacteria is what's going to give it that tanginess. But just in case, I do have a little bit of white vinegar here, and I do have some extra salt, which I don't think I'm going to need to add any extra salt because the brine was pretty salty anyway, but I do have it here just in case. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to open this up, and we're going to remove, if you remember, we put that little glass weight on top. If I can get this out. Okay, didn't want to come out of there. We're going to set that aside. Now, what I'm going to want to do is, well, I have my little hand blender here, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it down in here and do this. But first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this liquid out of here. I don't want all of this brine yet. I'm going to take some of it out, and then if we need to add more back in, we will. But I want to start with a little bit less. So I'm going to pour a good amount of that brine out, and then we'll start pureeing this like this and see how it goes. It smells delicious. All right, so let's get started with this and see how it goes. All right, wow, look at that beautiful color. Nice peachy color to that. Ooh. Wow. Okay, let's take a little taste of that. got a nice little heat to it. And you know, I don't think it needs any more vinegar at all, or salt at all for this. That tastes really good, and the heat is even hotter than I was expecting. I specifically chose the Serrano peppers so it wouldn't be extremely hot. If you do want something that's really hot, you could use habaneros or any other type of hot pepper. This is a clean spoon, by the way. I've got a bunch of them over here. So you don't want to double dip in here. Wow, has a nice acidity. And this actually has a pretty nice texture to it, but I think I'm going to try to pass this through a strainer to make it a little bit smoother. Alright, so I lost a little bit of volume because I have a lot of the solids here that I strained out, but I think I'm going to be happier having a little bit thinner and a little bit smoother hot sauce here, so I think it's going to be perfect. Alright, so I have our sauce all strained out, and me, being a knucklehead, I don't have a small enough funnel to fill up these little bottles, so I'm going to pour it into this measuring cup, and I'm going to try to pour it into the bottles without making a mess. So let's see, I'll put some in here, see what we can do. See how well I can do this. Alright, not too bad at all. More. Okay, got 2 bottles, and I'm going to put the rest into this mason jar here. Alright, looking good. Alright, got my little things on there, and our bottle, that. Looking good. So, alright, let's try a little bit of this now. So you get this ever so slight little layer of sweetness, but mostly it's more of a tangy, kind of a tart, tangy type of hot sauce. Has a nice little kick to it, not overpowering, but just has like a little light hotness to it. Really get those nice complex flavors from the peaches and the onions and the peppers and all that, and then just as the fermentation process goes, it really makes a nice complexity to it. Now, I would definitely make this hot sauce again. It has a beautiful orange color. It's not that sort of, it's not really a sweet peach kind of flavor, but sort of like a sort of a background of a fruity kind of a peach flavor. You wouldn't necessarily go, ah, peach, but the more that you taste it and the more that it kind of moves around in your mouth, you really start kind of getting those impressions of peach and stone fruit and things like that. Though without the sweetness, really, I said there's a really light layer of sweetness in here, but it's more of a tangy, tart, and spicy type of hot sauce, which, well, it should be. Anyway, that was a fun project and a long time in the making to get this done. But really, if you're making hot sauces, I think that fermentation is definitely the way to go. It's definitely a lot more complex, has a lot more interesting flavors than it is if you were to just cook it on a stove. But that being said, if you really want that super upfront sweet peach kind of flavor, you definitely would want to probably not ferment it, or at least ferment it only for maybe a week or something like that, so that those kind of sweet peach kind of flavors remain. This has become more of a, like I said, a spicy, tart, and tangy sauce as opposed to a sweet, real fruit-forward sauce. So if that helps, either way would be great. But I think definitely the fermentation process adds to a complexity of flavor that you can't get in any other process. So anyway, this was fun. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like the video, please please subscribe. That always helps us a lot, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, bye-bye.
It's fun to be free. Load up the pans and fishing poles.
I really like
Arlo and we hit the open road. Arlo and on the road.
Anyway, also wanted to say that we need to put this in the fridge. It should last in the fridge for a good while. Anyway, enjoy.